Hi everybody, Radical Gardener. Today is September 3rd, is it? It's a Tuesday, right? Okay. So as you can see out in the garden, you can hear the cicadas, the birds. You'll hear the chipmunks chatter, and you'll see a couple of squirrels go flying by behind me too. But what you can't see right now are the bees, and I have so many bees right now. It's so incredible. There's one just flying by me, big, huge one. One of the things that we saw this year that I've never seen before is I actually saw bees sleeping inside of flowers. It was just incredible to watch. Just so much. Like a friend of mine said, who came and had lunch here last week, he said, I can't believe all the wildlife you have in this backyard. He says, I guess it's a testament to build it and they will come. And that's really pretty much what happened here. And as I've told the story many times to you, when we moved in, there was not one bird chirp, not a chirp. And you couldn't even hear, crickets or cicadas. You couldn't hear any of it. And I don't know, if it's just that, the weather is changing, we're getting it, but I don't think so. I think it's, because of all of our efforts here in the yard. Well, we just got word back from the credit union, and we just don't like the numbers. They're not going to come out in our favor at all. And so we're a bit disappointed. We're going to sort of go back and look at selling the house, and if it wows us, then we'll do it. But if not, then we're just going to wait until next year and wait for some crypto to cash in, which I believe it's going to, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. No big deal. And, this is just how Joe and I do things. I mean, the universe just, gives us the next indicated step. And I was being a little bit silly about getting attached to the outcome, because I should know that that's not, it never works out the way that I see it. It works out, but it's never how I envision it. And so if I just stay in the moment, I stay very relaxed, and I can just see the magic of things unfolding, and really being in the middle of that and experiencing it, and really always being in kind of a awe of how life works. The wind is blowing, so I don't want this to fall off. Let me just try and adjust this a little bit. There we go. But anyways, a lot of things going on in the garden. As you know, this is a very busy time of year. But before we do that, I've got to show you this bee. Let's just turn this around. Can you see him? He's feeding off my wildflowers. Isn't it just beautiful? He's very busy. So those are the flowers from my wild onions, and I told you the bees go just nut-ola over these. They just can't get enough of these wildflowers. So yeah, that's from the wild onion. Highly recommend you plant them. They're a beautiful plant, and the bees love them. Yeah, you can use them as an herb too. Isn't that fun? All right, let's see. Let's not drop this thing. I'm always dropping you guys on your heads. There we go. All right, so today I'm going to be doing some more fertilizing. I'm still working with my squash. My eggplants are rocking and rolling now. I think we're going to get, I've already picked one. It looks like I'm going to be able to pick the rest of them in the next 2 weeks. So we made it on those. I'm getting a couple of good cucumbers, but they're still, I got them a little bit late. I think I'm only going to get out of like 4 plants, I might get 10, 15 cucumbers, because I think they went in too late. But we'll see. I don't know, they might surprise me. I mean, some things have surprised me, and I didn't think I was going to get, the peas, they just took forever, and then all of a sudden I had so many peas I didn't know what to do with them all, right? So anyway, so that's going on. And the way I do my fertilizers, I'm using, this year I'm using fish fertilizer, and I'm just putting a a teaspoon per gallon. And that's what I do. I sit with I actually have a pink, you can probably see it back there, a pink watering plastic, so it's light. That's why I'm using plastic. I like the metal ones, but this is light for me to carry around the garden. And so I put in 2 teaspoons of the fish fertilizer. That's a 2-gallon watering can, and I just walk around to my plants. It's very easy to do. I enjoy it. I really like doing things that just take time, and it's really relaxed, and I get to communicate with my plants. I like it a lot. I'm going to walk around and show you the slings that I've made for my vegetables so that they have some support. So what I'm going to do next year, though, I'm going to have a lot more trellises. I am going to use that cattle fencing that bends, and I'm going to build trellises out of that because I'm going to grow my squash real different and my cucumbers. I'm not going to have them in pots. I'm going to have them in beds, and then they're going to climb. Let's see, the quinoa, I'm going to show you that. I picked it, and it's now on the table. It's drying, and I'll show you what it looks like now without the quinoa over there. Let's see. Anything else that I want to talk about? Oh, the buckets. I'm going to give you a better, even though we're not actually, oh God, there's bees in my molding in the house. Yikes. Uh-oh. Wonder if that's okay. I don't think that is. Well, I'll ask Joe. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they've got some kind of a hive going behind the molding of my window. Okay. Well, that happens. All right, so where was I? I don't know. Let's just walk around the garden. Oh, no, I know where I was. So, let's talk a little bit about the woo-woo part of gardening. And any of you that have, not any of you, because maybe some people don't think of it like this, but this year I've almost heard my garden talking to me. Like, I would just hear things like, you should put this over here, or this would be a good place for your pots this year. I mean, it was just really weird. Not weird. I don't know. I just felt like I was really plugged in and able to communicate with the divas or the fairies or the elementals, or the little magical creatures that are living in the next dimension, or I don't know, but it's been really wonderful. And they've been coming in loud and clear lately. So I always know what it's time, when it's time to do something, or what plant I should really pay attention to, or a plant that really wants to be moved. And I know you can do all of this stuff logically and what have you, but I actually hear it. And if you read Rudolf Steiner, and if you've, what is is it Perlanda, the one on the East Coast, the woman that communicates with the elementals with her garden? She took over that big piece of land. I think she's in West Virginia or something. I actually pulled her workbook out. I think I'm going to read that through the winter. But she took over this land that nobody could really make anything happen, and when people would have challenges in the garden, she wouldn't, and she would absolutely communicate with the elementals. And Perlandia, I think she calls hers, and it's kind of after the one that's in Europe, and is that one called Freelandia? I haven't read those books in a long time, so if you want a great read the Perlandia woman's autobiography. Oh my God. You talk about a rough life, and the fact that she ends up with this land and growing this magical, really has a magical place, it's quite a journey. So I don't mean to sound like I'm rambling because I'm really not. I'm just, letting you know what's been on my mind. So let's just move around the garden here a little bit, shall we? All right, let's move that. All right. So one of the things I talked about is you might want to always have something like this to pick your vegetables and where it has holes on the bottom, and that way you can rinse it off before you ever bring it in the house, because it can really be a mess when you bring it in the house. Here in the cucumbers, you can see they're really starting to come in. Lots of little guys are growing, so I have to get in there again. I'm fertilizing once a week, but I think that they could even stand it twice a week because I've got them in containers and in pots. So you can see I've just got eggplants coming out everywhere now. I didn't even think that this plant was going to produce anything, and now it's really going to town. You can see the squashes coming in. You'll see this is the Armenian cucumbers. So I've made little slings out of nylons to support them. Got it tied to the stick. It's working out really well. And there's some more down below, but they don't look like they need too much support. Here's more of my eggplants. You can see they're getting much bigger. And you can see the peppers are coming. So, I'll have food. I have food that I can eat out of these plants. And you can see I have another nylon here supporting this guy. Nylon supporting that. Yeah, so I'm doing that. See, tomatoes. I pick tomatoes every day now. The tomatoes I fought for. These are all, I haven't talked about these, are all wildflowers I have growing behind here. So you can't see them, but they sure do attract the bees. This is the strawberries that replanted itself. I mean, it did plant itself, and there's tons of strawberries in here. So we go through here and pick strawberries every day. Okay. So I did go ahead and do that. Put some DE on top of the one kale that the aphids like to eat, and that's a cabbage that grew back, the leafy cabbage, and they like to eat that. So I put DE on it and cover it so the bees can't get in it, and that's working out really well. It's looking really, really healthy. See? Good. Yeah, those are looking real good. So, picked a bunch of purple carrots, as you can see. And I've got my quinoa drying. So it needs to stay there for a couple of weeks. And then I will pull off the seed onto a screen and then kind of rub it through the screen so that the husk comes off. And I should have my quinoa. I have the steps written out, so when I do go do it, I will walk you through it. But right now it's on parchment paper and it's drying for 2 weeks. I've got this is in my garage, so my garage is kind of my little workstation too. And I've got my dehydrator going. I got this on Amazon.com, the Magic Mill. Really inexpensive, works great. You hear the hot air blowing. I've got parsley, I have celery and kale. There's 6 shelves so you can dry it. See? And kale there. So I'm dehydrating that. It's wonderful in soups. And that celery dehydrated, oh my gosh, it is so flavorful. So we got that going on. As you know, I have a worm composting that I do even throughout the winter because the garage is heated, and so we put this over here so it can still aerate. We do dampen it with water every few days, and then we put our food scraps in here. So Yeah. So we're able, and then as we need to empty it, we emptied it into this one over here, and try and be careful about leaving the worms in this one. So that's how we work that. And of course, the bird stays in the garage with us sometimes. All right. I wanted to show you something else, you guys. Oh, this Italian zucchini. You can see I have a new one growing, and I ate this yesterday in a tomato sauce, and it was absolutely delicious. Isn't that interesting plant? That is going to be on a trellis. And you can see more of them are growing, and it's climbing along the garage. I love this. I love this plant. Just wonderful. So you can see where I pulled my vegetables, and then what I do is, any part of the vegetable I'm not using, I just lay it on top of where I pulled it from, let it decompose. I'll put straw on top and leaves, and then just let it kind of simmer throughout the winter. So that's my plan. See, the tomato plants look great, you guys. I fought for them. I've been picking up tomatoes. Kale still looks amazing. So I covered the Swiss chard because the little aphids like to eat that. So that's working out well. There's the giant 1,000-head kale. They don't even touch that. That's a real hardy kale, so I highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure that this one is the Russian kale, but I'm going to go through all of that at the end of the week and be very specific about what I'd order again, where I got it from, so that I can share that with you. And there we have some parsnips, and that's where I pulled the carrots from. So I've just put the greens. You can eat carrot greens. There's a lot of recipes for that. Look it up. I did it last year. You can even have carrot green soup, but I chose just to go ahead and put that down. I'm not hurting for food, and it does a lot of good being there too. So I'm going to be putting my pots over there. Like I said, I've got the soil ready to go. Here I am. Yeah, so making progress, right? Being in the garden in the fall. And I'll let you know what's going on in Florida. I know there's a huge hurricane. So it's so funny. Somebody says, aren't you going from the freezer into hell or something like that? Listen, there's nowhere on this planet that you're going to tell me is a safe place to live. This planet is going to be affected by cosmic ray flux and a solar minimum. That's just all there is to it. And honestly, the safest place that I think you can live is where I live right now, and that is in southeast Michigan. Throughout the last year of all these weather anomalies, we were fine. There was some flooding, but that was downriver. But get it? It was downriver. And so we didn't even have that. This was really good, but it's going to get colder here, and I do not want to be holed up in my house for 6 months. I just don't. I mean, I'm already feeling claustrophobic, and I never minded it that much. And it's like this year I said, enough. I will not hang out in my house for 6 months. I want to be out here. I want to be outdoors. I want to be in the sun. So that's why I'm looking at this. It's just how I'm feeling right now, and so I'm just plugged into whatever my next step is. Okay, well, everyone, thanks so much for listening to my rambling today, because it was kind of rambling, wasn't it? Anyway, Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours. May your garden always grow. Oh, I didn't show you the thing with the pots. I'll do that next time. Okay, my apologies. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. Sending you a ton of love. Okay, bye.